I wanted to become financially independent, but I didn't much fancy the idea of spending my life in an office taking orders from an annoying boss. And when I discovered the stock market, I thought, this is spectacular. I can get rich without getting my hands dirty.
The first real estate deal can be a defining moment for any entrepreneur. It's more than just a property, it's a statement, a calculated risk, and often the first step in building a long-term wealth empire. But have you ever wondered how billionaire entrepreneurs approach this milestone? Do they buy a flashy mansion to show off? Do they invest cautiously? Or do they use their first deal as a stepping stone to create generational wealth? Today, we're going behind the scenes to reveal the strategies, decisions, and mindset behind how billionaires spend their first real estate deal and how it sets the tone for everything that comes after. The first deal is a mindset. For most billionaires, the first real estate purchase is never just about the property itself. It's about vision. It's about seeing potential where others see risk. The mindset is simple but powerful. Treat every dollar like a seed, not a possession. Many entrepreneurs approach their first deal with extreme discipline. They research markets for months, study comparable properties, and analyze cash flows. Unlike average buyers who may make decisions based on aesthetics or emotion, billionaires prioritize financial strategy, leverage, and long-term value. Take a tech entrepreneur buying their first rental property. They aren't just thinking about the number of bedrooms, they're thinking about location trends, rental demand, potential appreciation, and exit strategies. Every purchase is part of a larger plan, designed to multiply wealth over time rather than just serve as a status symbol. The risk calculation billionaires are not reckless, they are calculated risk takers. The first real estate deal is often used to test their ability to manage risk while maximizing returns. They ask questions like, what is the property's cash flow potential? How much leverage can I safely use? What are the long-term growth trends in this neighborhood or city? How quickly can I scale this? Investment into a portfolio. Unlike the average buyer, billionaires are comfortable taking on debt to maximize leverage, but only when they have a plan to manage it. The goal isn't to avoid risk entirely, it's to control it, turning what seems like a gamble into a strategic advantage. Location is everything. One of the most important lessons in their first deal is location. Billionaires spend countless hours analyzing markets to identify hidden gems, areas that may be undervalued today but are poised for explosive growth tomorrow. For example, a young entrepreneur might buy a rundown property in a developing urban area. To the casual observer, it looks risky, even foolish. But billionaires see future potential: gentrification trends, infrastructure projects, and demographic shifts. This approach is consistent across industries. Successful entrepreneurs are visionaries. They see opportunities others overlook, and their first real estate deal often reflects this mindset. It's not about immediate luxury, it's about long-term strategic positioning. Renovation and value creation. Many billionaires treat their first real estate purchase as a canvas for value creation. They rarely buy properties simply to hold. Instead, they identify opportunities to increase value through renovation, strategic upgrades, or rebranding the property. Consider an entrepreneur who buys a modest multi-unit building. With targeted renovations, modern kitchens, energy-efficient upgrades, or aesthetic improvements, the property's value skyrockets. This approach mirrors the way they run businesses: improve, innovate, and scale. The lesson here is clear. Wealth in real estate is rarely passive at the start. Billionaires understand that their first deal is a learning ground for creating value rather than simply acquiring assets. Financing the first deal. While many first-time buyers rely on traditional bank loans, billionaires often get creative with financing. They may leverage private lenders, partnerships, or even their own business cash flow to maximize buying power. The key principle is leverage. By using borrowed capital strategically, they can control larger assets with less of their own money, multiplying potential returns without exposing themselves to catastrophic loss. However, the first deal is often conservative compared to later purchases. Billionaires use it as a training ground for understanding debt management, property cash flow, and negotiation tactics, ensuring they are prepared for larger, riskier acquisitions down the road. The emotional component. Despite the emphasis on strategy and numbers, the first real estate purchase carries emotional weight. For many entrepreneurs, it's a symbol of independence, a milestone that validates years of hard work, and a tangible reflection of ambition. However, billionaires are careful not to let emotion cloud judgment. While the property may feel personal, the decision is rooted in metrics, forecasts, and strategic potential. They know that wealth is built on rational decisions, not impulse, and the first deal is a perfect exercise in balancing desire with discipline. Learning from mistakes. Even billionaires make mistakes in their first deal. Perhaps the property was overestimated in appreciation potential, or renovations went over budget. But here's the difference. They analyze the mistake rigorously, extract lessons, and apply them immediately to the next purchase. This feedback loop is critical. Many real estate tycoons attribute their early failures as some of the most valuable experiences in their career. The first deal is less about profit and more about mastering due diligence, negotiation, and operational management. Every misstep becomes a blueprint for smarter decisions in the future. Billionaires see mistakes as tuition, not tragedy. Scaling the portfolio. Once the first deal is mastered, billionaires often use it as a springboard. They reinvest profits, leverage equity, and expand into multiple properties. By the time others are buying their second home, billionaires are building diversified portfolios across residential, commercial, and industrial real estate. The first deal teaches them critical lessons in cash flow management, tenant relations, and property operations. These lessons are then scaled, creating a system that can be replicated across hundreds of properties, each acquisition building on the last. Scaling isn't accidental, it's a deliberate strategy rooted in discipline, analysis, and long-term vision. The first deal is merely the blueprint. The role of mentorship and advice. Many billionaire entrepreneurs don't navigate their first real estate deal alone. They seek advice from seasoned investors, mentors, and industry experts. These relationships are crucial, providing insights on market trends, financing structures, and operational pitfalls. The lesson: even extraordinary talent benefits from guidance. By combining ambition with expert advice, entrepreneurs reduce risk, increase efficiency, and accelerate wealth accumulation. The first deal often determines whether they start on the right track or learn the hard way, but with mentorship, they maximize every opportunity. Psychological edge. The first real estate deal also builds confidence and mental toughness. Negotiating prices, managing contractors, and navigating bureaucracy requires patience, resilience, and decisiveness. Billionaires develop a psychological edge early. They learn to act decisively under pressure, anticipate challenges, and remain calm in high-stakes situations. These skills are transferable whether scaling a business empire, investing in stocks, or launching new ventures. The lessons from a first property purchase shape decision-making and risk tolerance for life. Luxury versus strategy. Contrary to popular perception, billionaires rarely start their real estate journey with luxury purchases. Flashy homes or extravagant mansions are usually later steps. The first deal is almost always strategic, value-driven, and focused on financial return. They might buy a modest apartment building, a small commercial property, or an undervalued house in an emerging neighborhood. The goal is growth and leverage, not immediate prestige. Status symbols come later once the portfolio and wealth are secure. This approach is a defining difference between ordinary buyers and billionaires. They prioritize long-term strategy over short-term gratification. Early in his career, Bezos invested in real estate cautiously, focusing on properties that could generate cash flow while supporting his other ventures. Elon Musk, despite his wealth, initially bought modest homes in Los Angeles, prioritizing investment potential over luxury. Mark Cuban, the billionaire entrepreneur and investor, started with a small office building before diversifying into multiple properties. These first deals were learning experiences. They weren't glamorous, but they were strategic. Each purchase honed skills that later enabled massive wealth creation. The pattern is consistent. First deals are calculated, disciplined, and designed to educate while generating returns. The takeaway: the story of how billionaires spend their first real estate deal offers timeless lessons. Think long-term. The first deal is not about prestige. It's about creating a foundation for wealth. Analyze thoroughly. Research markets, demographics, cash flow, and growth potential. Leverage wisely. Use debt strategically to maximize returns while controlling risk. Learn and adapt. Mistakes are lessons, not failures. Build systems. The first property should teach operational efficiency, tenant management, and portfolio scaling. Seek guidance. Mentors and experts accelerate learning and reduce costly errors. Patience is key. Wealth grows with discipline, not impulse. Purchases. Billionaires approach their first deal with strategic foresight, analytical rigor, and relentless discipline, transforming a single property purchase into a stepping stone for generational wealth. If you approach your first property with the mindset of a billionaire, strategic, disciplined, And visionary, you're not just buying a building, you're laying the foundation for an empire. And that is how the world's wealthiest entrepreneurs turn a single real estate deal into lifelong financial success.